check. Wait for it to load. Check. Wait for it to load. Check. Testing, testing. Wait for it to load. Check. Testing, testing. Wait for it to load. Should be good enough. Alright. Just going with some Bant Stoneblade. This is the list pulled from a recent 5.0. Got the unfortunate mismatching islands from Mana Traders, but and the new Magic Online sounds are interesting, to say the least. Turned off the card riffle one because it was really annoying. Alright. Let's get going. $27 trophies. I wonder what they play. Google search says a lot of Eldrazi Tron. Their MTG Goldfish tournament finishes list is just all E-Tron. That sounds pretty good. We on Astral. Get to play second island next turn. Or play this Flooded Strand. Just play the island though. Right on time. Blooming Marsh, Aether Vial. Could be the new Yawg deck. Alright. Jesus, yeah, that is loud. Make those settings are loud for me as well. Let's just cut all those in half. That should be better. And then let's see what's up with my microphone. Echo's still kind of loud, but Mana Dork, probably. Weird sound. Alright. Might just want to steal trying to figure out my mic settings right now. I have them turned all the way up in Streamlabs, but Feature Island still does. Streamlabs mic sensitivity is set to default. It's set to no changes, which is interesting. What you got? Water roots. Quarter calling, probably. This is probably getting a Gyros Messenger, which just gets pathed. 4, 5, 6. So I think it's better to let that happen, path the messenger, and then potentially leak the Yawgmoth next turn. I could just path the Yawgmoth though, so this at least converts the force. And now we have an Aether Vial. I'm gonna leave it at 2 because it puts Ice-Fang Codal into play, and we will continue to draw lands. They have Jerry. Colony Guard. Okay, okay. Gonna take the first hit for 3 and see if they play a Yawgmoth. I have a bit of life total to work with and can afford to take the damage, but difficult to beat a Yawgmoth against this with this board. So Ooze is a little rough. I want to pat the Ooze or the Gyros Messenger. I think one of the ways that I get out of this is by drawing a Uro. I'm gonna path the Ooze. It's a little bit of a faster clock. The Gyros Messenger is a little bit faster of a clock, but I think the Ooze is just a little more important. Testing. Okay, am I louder now? I should be louder now. I turned it up on the inside of my computer. Okay. Well, at the very least, that'll get a sanctuary to put path back on top. If they don't play anything else, that doesn't really matter. Not sure if I want to. Not sure if I want a sanctuary for the path right now, because I need to draw something that does something, right? Just continuing to, like, here I would path the Gerald's Messenger, continue to hope they have nothing. But if I draw something like an Uro, or something like an Ice-Fang Codal, or even an Astrolabe, and they have 4 points, I think I'm just gonna take a draw step here. I'm gonna main phase this in case I draw something else. I'm gonna block the Young Wolf, and then get the Sanctuary. Yeah. That is a weird sound for that, Mango. The timing of the Field of Ruin doesn't super matter at this point. Just gonna Field of Ruin the Twilight Mire, eventually. I have a Plains and 1 island in my deck still. A Patra. Alright. There we go. There show player for -1. Alright, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. Get the plains, because there's plenty of islands. It's not a bad one, that's for sure. Gonna just plus. I need cards. Jesus Christ. If they attack me, go down to 1, and I'm dead to that Geist. Alright. Well, drew a lot of lands that game, but what you gonna do? here. This is interesting. Surgical is good because it can disrupt the combo, but is overall not great in the matchup. Just has a lot of things that it doesn't do anything to. I think bringing it in. Because I am kind of afraid of their like a fast combo kill. I just like put a bunch of mana creatures into play and then combo off. And Gust is good against their their beatdown plan. Handles wolves, handles Stranglegeist. That's about it, but can also snag their tutors. Force Negation's pretty medium. And Teferi's fine. Teferi better than Jace. I think Jace is better, so I'm going to cut. I mean, I think that Teferi is better, so I'm going to cut Jace. I like Big Teferi can tuck, which is better than an unsummon, so I think it makes it a little bit better than the Jace. This hand's very good. Very good. Jeez. Place Ice-Fang Code on there instead. It's perfect mana base right here. They got some mana. Young Wolf is whatever. Island, play an Ice-Fang Gruul. I'm just gonna play the Teferi, bounce the Young Wolf. Gonna leave back the Surgical in case they have a Stranglegeist. Then we can block with Codal and then Surgical it. Yawgmoth is pretty good. It's pretty good. The new Miko sounds are so weird. They have another Yawgmoth in hand? That's rough. The perfect mana base. If they attack the Yawgmoth, I do get to ambush it with an Ice-Fang, which is nice. But then they sack a creature, so less nice. Trying to figure out if it's better to run out the Codal, have them sack a creature. So like, I could just path it. Or I could play the Codal, have them sack something to it, and then path it. I think I just run out the path now. Going to be casting the Codal this turn, just like for more cards, but... them having the second Yawgmoth was very unfortunate this game. Decently representing a counterspell here, just like a mana leak. Them not slamming it's pretty good for me. Oh, they want to play around the leak by putting another Dork into play. And then their last card's another Yawgmoth, so I do have to find an answer this turn. Kind of does it. Goodness gracious. So, whenever they cast their Yawgmoth, I'm going to Gust the Wolf so that they don't turn on the combo immediately. They're attacking. Why are they attacking? I think I do block. I'm gonna block just to keep this alive for a little while. Well, I may have nothing, they don't have to know that. Would have been nice to have second surgical, to be honest. They're really scared. So we could Gust this now and then Field to Ruin it away. Might as well. If they had a Tutor, they would have main phased it and then we would have Gusted it then, because they can't cast anything during our turn. Charm's not bad. Not great, but fielding their Twilight Mire now because we don't want them to draw the wolf on top. Sure, dude. You got it. And then run out another field. This has been flushed. Say go. Now that they've waited for so long, we will have the counterspell for if they recast Yawgmoth. This time we just kind of let them have the Teferi, and then we have to hope that they don't have the Veil Summer. We can steal that. trying to decide if I want to steal the wolf or draw 2 this turn. There's upside to both, right? Like, the wolf blocks this 2 turns, so right now they have 6 power. I think I'm going to draw 2 just because I can draw a Supreme Verdict. Which is mostly what I want in this game, is to just draw a Verdict. Cryptic's not bad. Another land. Another land. Alright. Taking 6 this turn. Not going to tap draw this turn because, again, they have the Yawg Moth. We need to hold. I'm just gonna fire off this field. Get one of my 2 last basics. If they try and cast a spell here, I'm almost definitely gonna cryptic it, but Aether Gust. Again, I can gust the wolf if I need to, but I'm just gonna cryptic tap this turn. Them not having the second black source to play the Yawgmoth here is very nice. Uro is a very good draw. This turn... No, I shouldn't have played this. Yeah. It's pretty bad. What I was supposed to do is I was supposed to play the Strand, put the Cryptic on top, but instead I'm just going to play both halves of the Uro, when normally I would only want to play, use one half. Could also just like put this on top, play this, put the path on top, and then path the Jerry. Or, okay, so play this, put Charm on top, pay 4 mana to escape my Uro, and then have mana for Charm. Or off of the extra land. Well, this may not work out though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I can still put the Cryptic on top because I get another land drop by playing the Uro. Uro, blue, blue, green. Green. Exile land, land, land. Ice-Fang. Ice-Fang. This draws the Cryptic. Draw Cryptic, play out the Field of Ruin. I want to hold this fetch because this fetch can get the other Sanctuary next turn. And I still have this Astrolabe that casts the Cryptic. Uro is a disgusting magic card. They're just making the mana for the Yawg here, but not a whole ton we could do about it. Maybe we were supposed to tap bounce. No, that one would have worked. We still have enough life that they have, since we have the same amount of life, it takes 2 iterations for them to it costs them 2 life per cycle, and since the life is an additional cost, I believe that it puts us ahead here. They have to find something that kills me. If they play any card that just gains them a life, we lose. But what others does it? Not gonna sit there and make them click through it. We're already down on clock, so rough first one. Had some mana problems in the first game, and had some mana problems in the second game as well as our opponent sequenced really well. They held that Yawg forever. It's part of why I prefer the Stoneforge Mystic version of the deck, is that if I just played a Stoneforge Mystic, got a sword, the game would have been over pretty quickly, but win another die roll, very lucky. The sand doesn't do anything. This hand's pretty good. Put the either putting Verdict or Teferi on the bottom. Probably putting the Verdict on the bottom because we have the little path. It's very unlikely that we cast this path this turn, but this might, if they're playing exactly something like Neo Brand. It's on the list of things that I think I passed. That's not ideal. The path also is not ideal, but just have to consider your life total. Get to Mana Leak, their next thing, which is nice, and then hope we draw a land for Time Raveler. Best case is they play some random 2-drop and then suspend a Rift Bolt and we draw land. Although them playing basic forest means they're probably playing Zoo instead of traditional burn. Seems like this is Naya Zoo instead of yeah, just, no thank you. That's unfortunate. Just need to find a green source at this point. That's a wild Mikado. Verdant Catacomb. Are they playing Domain Zoo? Galia. Creatures. Yeah, I guess the other path. That one worries me. Any land is here is still very good. Would prefer a green source so they can cast arrows in the future, but being able to timer overlay this Nakata would be great. It's not ideal, but we do have to fetch shock here. We need the breeding pool. Alright, more lands, more lands. Looking good, looking good. The Dryad Arbor. Always respect the Dryad Arbors out of these decks. Yeah, I don't got anything, but... Oh man, if Goblin Guy draws me a land here? Come on, come on, come on. Astrolabe. That's not a land. Beat on the Astrolabe so that when I play the Uro, I can find the second. I'll be closer to an extra land to play. Like that. And this turn we just play the Uro, hope not to get skull cracked. I don't know if they play a skull crack, but that just seems like the kind of thing they'd do. Next turn we get to escape the Uro, and Zoo has troubles with that. Still trying to figure out why they have a Verdant, other than just trying to get to a density of fetches, is my guess. Taking 6 here, boss. Second chase on top, not ideal. The only 1 mana green card that I'm playing, the only 1 mana card that I'd be playing right now is if I draw another Path or an Astrolabe, so Snow-Covered Plains cast both those. Tarkus Command. It's pretty good. So right now they need to have 2 things to kill us. Have to block the Nakata. Them attacking here is a very bad sign though. Archmage's Charm's a good draw. Renegade. So, let's see. I am at 3. Have another bolt? Don't have another bolt. Tarfire. That's pretty funny. Alright, so I'm going to attack with the Uro. Let them trade with the Narnum Renegade. Or not trade. Either way is fine with me. And then Archmage's Charm one of their creatures. See what we draw. The upside of giving them the option to block is if they choose to block and just trade this off, then stealing the Goblin Guide before they can attack with the Dryad Arbor makes it so I have a Lightning Bolt covered. And if I drew a land off of the Uro, I could Charm plus Jace, but drawing the Supreme Verdict. The upside to verdicting is that I get to hold the charm and potentially use it as a draw or to steal something later. And they don't have, since they have 0 cards, I don't think there's a card that kills me. I think I like holding the charm this turn so that the charm does. The Supreme Verdict covers them drawing a 2-drop. If I hold the Verdict, I can cover a 2-drop, but Jace also can cover. Jace or Teferi can cover that. Okay, yeah, I think I've talked myself into verdicting. I don't think they have any 2-drop hasters, but play the Teferi and then leave up the charm. We can't run this out end of turn. Like, even if they, alright. Bring in cards that say life gain. Take out the Jaces. The small mana rebate that we get off of the Teferi makes it so you can do stuff like we just did and still have 2 mana up and still have enough mana up after you play your Teferi to have a counterspell. And then everything else on our board is just blanks in this matchup. Like, I guess we could bring in Gust. I'm gonna try it. I haven't had the opportunity of playing with Gust in this matchup previously, but I will just cut the 5 fairies for it. I'm gonna cut 1 3 fairy and 1 5 fairy. Just leave 1 in the deck as just a win condition. But the plan A in this matchup is to just Uro them to death. Hand doesn't really do anything. Like, it kind of has a catch-up mechanism, but that hand just gets ran over too easily. This hand's better because Uro is busted. And since we're on the draw, we can afford to put a land on the bottom. We have enough looks that we're enough favored to find a land. Still getting used to the new arts for the fetch lands. Good draw. Would like to draw any basic just to turn on the Ice-Fang Codal for turn 2. It's not bad. Nice thing about Time Raveler in this matchup, as opposed to the traditional burn matchups, is them not having The suspend spells are worse, but since their creatures don't have haste generally. Did they keep a one-lander? They did. If they don't play another land, this Snapcaster Mage is going to ambush Viper. Fortunately, the Ice-Fang Codal does not have that touch, because Field of Ruin is not a snowland. But I can't imagine that they play Mutagenic Growth. They might, but if they left in Mutagenic Growth post board against Bant Blade, you got it, dude. Hey. Right on time. As much as I want to get the planes to make it so they to make a verdict castable, I think it's just more important that we can cast these Archmage's Charms that are already in our hand. Forest, solid draw. They mulligan a bunch. They mulligan to 6. Hand is not sure what else was going into their hand to make them want to keep that, but starting off 1-1. Unfortunate match against Yawg and clean up on Zoo. Come on, opponent. Join the match. I believe in you. 3 for 3 on the die rolls. Unfortunate. This hand's fine. What am I binning here? Probably binning the Snapcaster Mage. And hoping that they're a creature deck to convert this verdict. Seeming like they might be a creature deck. Just call me crazy. I'm gonna fetch for a tapped Hallowed Fountain to set up to cast this verdict on 4. Makes it awkward a little bit if we draw an Ice-Fang Codal, but because we have Mana Leak into Archmage's Charm, well, we might have the Archmage's Charm on 3, but since we have the Mana Leak for next turn, we don't need a Codal to be turned on super quickly. Oh man. Opponent has the upkeep stop. Alright. I'd like to draw an Astrolabe soon. Yeah, no thank you. It's unideal, but beats, you know. Just gonna flash this Codal in at their end of turn. Hope that they don't do anything too bad. Red-green Eldrazi. Got a Thought-Knot Seer. That's unfortunate. I am gonna flash this in just because out of this hand, this Codal is the best take. And I want to turn this Codal into a land, see? That's ideal. Now we get to just, they might just take a verdict. And we get to run out the Flooded Strand, which just bricks their Thought-Knot. Take the charm, sure. They should have attacked with their noble. Snake doesn't have death touch, and I wouldn't have blocked it anyway. Run this out. No need to verdict this turn, because I have the Codal. I would like to see if I can get a lightning bolt out of them before, or unless they just like follow up with a smusher. But it seems unlikely that they're going to try and smusher me with. They know that I have verdicts in hand. Blood Braid. Oof. That's a little rough. Taking 7, boss. But we do get to follow this up with a verdict. I'm probably supposed to hold that Flutter Strand, because I am going to be drawing a card here. And if I just draw a Shockland or something, I would have preferred to play that, but since I've never been punished a day in my life, I'm just gonna run out the Stash Blade. Hoping to dodge Reality Smashers. Bone Crusher, that's pretty good. Would like to draw a piece of interaction that isn't this verdict, but alas. Question of the day is, can I afford not verdict? I think I can. I just play this Flooded Strand, then I can, if I need to draw a verdict, I can choose to draw a verdict next turn. So by fetching for a Sanctuary, put the verdict on top, put another verdict on top. So I have the option of making my draw step a Supreme Verdict. So question is, do I want to draw a Mana Leak? The answer is no. Good talk. Still looking to dodge Reality Smashers. Copter's pretty whatever. Obligator. That's awkward. What's weird about Obligator is I don't know if I want to draw the verdict this turn. This is round 3, game 1. We are currently 1-1. Not sure if I want to draw this verdict. If I want to like Sanctuary for a verdict this turn. A non-hasty threat doesn't kill me, but it does put me to 1. But if I just take... But if I don't go for it... If I don't go for it, I'm likely to be at 1, and that kills... that blanks my strand, but... If I do go for it, I'm 0% to continue my plan. I think I'm going to take a draw step. Looking for an arrow. Just putting that out there. Path is acceptable. This is game 1. Still looking to dodge a Smasher. Always looking to dodge a Smasher. Them not having a follow-up creature is pretty big. I am going to path this. And then I am going to Sanctuary the path on top. Come on. Hoping that they don't just like have 2 lightning bolts. But I don't think there's a whole ton I could do about that right now. Like, the way that you play around that is by hoping to draw an Uro or a Cryptic, but I think that they're just more likely to have creatures. Not going to play the land this turn in case they're in case they play a Smasher. So I lost to black-green Yawgmoth, but I mostly lost because I drew like 8 lands in both games and didn't do a whole ton. And they had Thoughtseize on the turn that they needed it in game 2. Them just having a bird here is really good for us. Another land is really bad for us, so. I'm gonna main phase this Field of Ruin. They might have, in case that their last card is Bolt, and they don't have second Mountain in their deck. I don't want them to be able to do both things. Oh, they only have 3 basics. So now, if their card in hand is Bolt, and their card in deck is Bolt, then they can't do both. This is a Thought-Knot Seer. Thought-Knot Seer gets pathed, and then I get hit by the Copter. He didn't crew the Copter. Oof. Yeah, you got Malik. Very lucky that they didn't crew the Copter. Still looking at draw Neuro. That is still a Field of Ruin. I don't actually have any basics left in my deck, so I'm gonna just sit on this Field of Ruin. I can't cut them off of anything unless I draw all of my Field of Ruins, so. Alright, bird coming in for 1. Uh-oh. Oh. Alright, I go to 2. Need to draw something. Luckily, there isn't a timing for them to crew the Copter with a powered-up bird. Something, please. Just a card that is useful. That is a card that is useful. Bouncing the Copter so that I'm not dead to any creature with power. Charm is fine. Might just have to steal the Noble. I'm gonna draw 2. Mom didn't raise a coward. Drawing a 1, boss. Uro, please. That ain't it. Goodness. Snapcaster Mage protects us. Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster. Probably the Archmage's turn. They attack with the Noble, we go Snap Block. They attack with the Bird, which would be kind of unfortunate, but Obligator. Sure. So they're going to attack with the Alligator. We're going to play our Snapcaster Mage, targeting Archmage's Charm. Then draw 2 off of our Charm. At this point in the game, all we want is to just draw an arrow. Yeah, I did need to make sure that I hit my 18th land drop this game, just in case. Can never be too safe. Maybe it heard me talking about last game, or round 1 against Yawg, and thought that I just wanted to do that again. I don't get it. So this turn, unless I draw an arrow. No, alright. So now we plus Teferi, play Time Raveler, play Sanctuary, put Verdict on top. Verdict on top. Okay. Use. Play a Time Raveler. Keep the new one. Bounce. Supposed to bounce the bird because I want to copter. And now we can Verdict on their turn. How many lands are in this deck? I'm playing 25? 7, 8, 9, 10? Drew 10 lands? 13 of 25? Been over a little half of my deck, so that's not far off. Nice Cascade. Bye Lightning Bolt. Whew. That one could have been a problem. Oh, they're gonna get me. I would like to cast Supreme Verdict. Got a bird. Force negation. Alright, keep this one. Bounce the copter so that we're not dead to any creature with power or toughness. Draw something relevant, please. Please. Thank you. It's a decent one. Mostly because I have access to a path still. Alright. I think... the QB. I guess in theory I could Verdict. They're tired of it. They're off of it. Alright. don't know if I want these rejections. So, problem is, they're boarding in Veil of Summers. That's the problem. That's it. That's the whole thing. So I don't know if I want Ceremonious Rejections or Aether Gust because of how narrow it is against them. It does, like, it hits Bloodred Elf, it hits that Questing Beast. But I don't think I want the Gust. I think Rejection is just better than... Jesus Christ, Magic Online. Okay. Come on. I believe in you. Client seems to have frozen? No, this is still ticking down. It's just not letting me interact. Yeah, Rejections is just enough better than Force Negation, but it still is going to feel bad. But it's also just not letting me move cards around in my sideboard right now, so... Okay. Move those over there. Okay. Okay, we figured it out. The real question is Aether Gust better than Force? I think because we know they have Domri in their deck and are probably bringing in like more, and because they're going to have some number of Veil Summers, I think we just submit this. One, Force Negation is weird, but I think it's better than Gust. This hand looks like a trap. Yeah, look at this. Yep, put a Sanctuary back in my deck. Uh-oh. Them leaning on Temple scares me. Look who decided to fucking show up already. Jeez. It's not a bad draw. Not ideal, because I would like to be able to cast this Archmage's Charm. Is this Obligator? Smells like Obligator. It's gonna hurt. I think I'm likely to path post-combat this time, unless they play a, that's a Spellbreaker. Huh. That's interesting. I guess they might not choose haste. Unfortunate. The decision here is, do I want to path? And I think I do. Yeah, I'm gonna path here. Because if they play Smasher next turn, I can charm it. And then I can start Urrowing afterwards. I do think that I leave up this charm for a turn. Mostly because if I don't... Snapcaster is a good draw. Do I just want to snap path? I don't think so. If they don't play something that needs to get charmed, I can just draw two, so... Max punished. Do I have to charm this just because I have 2 arrows? Yeah, I think I have to counter this. No, not that color. Yeah, kind of awkward. Would normally prefer to not interact with the Grafdigger's Cage, but because I have Uro Snapcaster Mage in hand, not much of an alternative. Woo! That is chonky, lad. Taking 7, boss. I'd like to draw land. It's not a land. Do I win a game? Yeah, I think. I'm just gonna snap path. Since I'm pathing the questing beast, I can wait. I'm dead to a smusher. Right. So I'd still path this. I guess so. I path the smasher, take 7, go to take alright. Need to be on the play that game. I still don't think I want this Aether Gust. Pretty much always trying to shuffle Mystic Sanctuaries back into the deck. It's like one of the biggest upsides of mulliganing with this deck is that you can... So it means that you don't have to draw your Sanctuaries. Controversial take, but I love Astrolabe. I like having good mana without being punished, because having bad mana is not fun. Especially in Legacy. Looking at you, Aaron. I like to see that. This is awkward. They brought in a lot of cards to handle my Uros, but Uro is the most important card, so I guess that makes sense. If they don't do anything important this turn, just crack the relic. Alright, I guess they don't have any pressure, so. If they play something that just gets pathed this turn, I get to path it, untap Jace. Alright. Bloodbraid Elf into a bull. That's gross. I guess we... Instead, we just take 6 and Verdict. I understand why you don't like Astrolabe, and I agree that Veil is stupid and just shouldn't exist, but if they brought in Oof, that'd be... I mean, what's better than that? That would be an Oof. Taking 6 here, boss. I've had a lot of collectors cast against me before, so... You got it. So far, we've seen 2 relics and a 2 relics and 1 cage. I think cage is better by a lot. Yawg. It's when they hit us with the temple into Smasher and just send us straight into oblivion. I want that one. Relic is capable of turning off Sanctuary, which the other one isn't. Yeah, you got it. Take my path. Takes the Jace. Interesting. I was just gonna Jace on summon and just kind of... Yeah, that's probably smart, but unfortunate. Is that good? I feel like that's good. So I'm gonna play this, and then what's gonna happen here is they're gonna tap their relic. I'm going to put this Supreme Verdict on top of my deck, and we're gonna call that good. Mostly doing it because Supreme Verdict will continue to be relevant, and I just want to get value out of Sanctuary while I can. And laugh at them for having a relic in their deck. It's always fun. Distinctly medium is a very good way of putting it. But our opponent is playing red-green Eldrazi. The pretty much exact definition of distinctly medium. It's a Noble Hierarch. It's also a Noble Hierarch. Awkward. Awkward for me. I'm not a fan of them having 2 Noble Hierarchs. Love me some Ice-Fang. Do I just take them? I don't know. Probably some thought to just take 6 here and play Verdict, but that plays right into a Smasher, so probably not. It's a good one, Chief. It's a good one. +1. Teferi. Teferi is not distinctly medium. Right now. In general, Teferi is definitely distinctly medium, but like right now he's pretty darn good. Any Smusher gets pathed. Spellbreaker is worst possible for me. So now I can't just path it. He gets to kill my Teferi. But we do get to Verdict here, which is nice. But I am definitely big sad by the Spellbreaker. You've done good. There could be some thought to pathing a Noble before he can attack, but since I have second Teferi, I think I'm just fine with that exchange. I'm just gonna do this and play my other Teferi next turn with this Ceremonious Rejection for if anything big comes. Hey, that's a colorless spell. Oh, that's a Smusher. Or bigger than a Smusher? They have Inkbringer in the deck? No, okay, they just tapped an extra mana for no reason. This game's feeling pretty over, yeah. 2-1. Played a bunch of creature decks, which are generally going to be good matchups. I think my Yawg-Moth matchup is good, but I haven't played it in a while, and I haven't played that version of it with Hapatra and Vile. I've seen a couple lists. Oh man, lost a die roll, so unlucky. Well, this hand does exactly one thing, and I hope it's good enough. Skelding Tarn bodes poorly for that thing being good enough. Hoping to draw a Force Engagement, boss. Hoping that this isn't Storm. Because this hand loses to Storm real hard. Watery Grave. This smells like a Thought Scour. We're just playing against like Grixis control. Some shadow deck. I have 3 Veil Summers in my sideboard. This is smelling like Grixis control. In the winner's bracket? Might be Shadow. Still could be Shadow. Not bad. This is good for a like Royal Scions if they play it. Okay, so it is Shadow. Makes this verdict good. Yeah, we chill. I wanted it to be control, but mostly because the control decks are buys, especially with Bant. You wanted to believe whenever they did medium in game 1 and then just died to a bunch of Veil of Summers in game 2 or 3. Like, come on. The Grimangler. I'm gonna fetch for a Shockland here. Feels like Temple Garden is better. Yeah, I'm gonna get a Temple Garden. It makes this Sanctuary worse, but Sanctuaries from hand much less often are used to actually do something, so. Flooded Strand, get my 3rd Snow permanent, and then play an Uro. I'm playing the Uro this turn. I'm just trying to figure out what mana configuration I want to do it with. I think it is Strand, fetch for an island, just play an Uro. And then getting the Temple Garden because of double-pipped white and double-pipped green. Drawing the Cryptic means we're likely to verdict this turn in this upcoming turn. Even if they don't play a second threat, we don't super care. Because we have the second one, and we can just put ourselves ahead. Them drawing a basic's good. They probably have 2 basics. Maybe a 3rd. But but I'd expect 2 basics, and then we can start to Field of Ruin them off of red for the rest of the game. If I draw a land, like any land, I can technically escape my Uro by activating Field of Ruin as for the 5th card. Thoughtseize. See, they wanted to Thoughtseize a Verdict. Instead, they have to take the Cryptic, and then we just escape the Uro. And this puts them to 6, which is lethal to an Uro. This seems like a good draw, but I can't tell you why. I would like to draw any... God damn it. I'd like to draw any way to cast this Path to Exile. When was the last time Grixis Control was good? I don't think I can remember Control ever being good. Just it being acceptable at a couple of different points. Unfortunate. Twin? Yeah, sure. Grixis Twin. Or Grixis Control, probably. Seems like the kind of thing that could have a good twin matchup, so. They have the Fatal Push, is my guess. They fetched for the swamp? Oh, honey. There's no way they play a mountain. There's 0% to have a mountain in their deck. Yeah, I buy that. I buy the Control Twin matchup being pretty good for Grixis. Now, why would you do that? I could just play the Path and then play the Teferi. I think what I want to do this turn is I want to activate this Field of Ruin just on this on the Blood Crypt, take them off of red for, well, do what is likely to take them off of red for the rest of the game, and then I can either just play the Supreme Verdict or play the Path. So if they find a land off of this, yeah, if they find a land off of this, I probably Verdict. Otherwise, I just Path Uro. Yeah, they didn't find a land, so I'm going to Path plus Uro, but I want to have the mana drain first. Them doing that makes me afraid of them having exactly fetch lands TBR. I can play around that, so I think I'm probably supposed to play around that. Yeah. Alright. Since they had the Bolt, I think I'm supposed to play around fetch land TBR instead of having something else. Because this way there's just, like, unless they have something weird, I can't think of anything, but they're not likely to be able to kill me. And then I can set up Time Ravelers and more Uros and just make this, like, slowly pinch the game. And if they don't have a threat right now, That's technically a threat, but like, is it really though? Is it really though? Serum visions. Are you gonna crack your fetch first? Are you gonna? Are you gonna? Coast 2. Alright. Do they have a Thoughtseize or something? I would have expected them to fetch Thoughtseize. But we're not the fairy. I can pay for a stub. Because Snapcaster is little baby. And definitely plussing. You don't want to bounce their Snapcaster Mage. And the decision here is to either just play the Uro or play the Path. There's a chance if I run out the Uro, I can do both, which is pretty good. But if I don't, then Fairy can die to a Bolt, which is unideal. I'm gonna run out the Uro just because it's, which is better. I'm just gonna pass and Path because this match, riding to Fairy to a free victory is just one of the plans in this matchup. So. Pluto Delta. I am going to path the Snapcaster though. Assuming, yeah. They're probably running low on fetchables. What do we want? What do we cut? What do we cut? What do we cut? I like trimming at least one force negation. At least 1/5 fairy. Tempted for the last cut to be an astrolabe. Like, I'm deciding between cutting an astrolabe and cutting like one of the smaller, like one of your bigger dudes. But like Jace is really good against Gurmag Angler because you can just keep on summoning it, and then eventually they run out of cards in their yard. Fairy is just a good, like, they have to play a fair plan, so we want our fair plan to just be more generically powerful. I think my last cut's going to be an astrolabe. Could just be another force though. But one of the ways that they cheese you out in this matchup is by going, it's like make large thing, cast TBR on large thing. I think this is my best configuration, or at least close to it. Veil Summer's obviously just a house. Hate that card. I bet our opponent hates that card. Aaron definitely hates that card. I don't know how I feel about this hand. This hand can never beat a Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize and... I'm gonna ship this one back. I can just do so much better. See, like this. This is so much nicer. I'm gonna put this charm on the bottom. I did talk about Veil of Summer whenever I brought in Veil of Summer, yes. I regret to inform you. Tormod's Crypt. They're probably taking one of these. Yep. Come on, right on time. Thoughtseize me again, you coward. This is a Gurmag Angler. You can tell by how long it takes them to pay costs. Mana not super cooperating right now. Would have liked to have an Astrolabe, to be honest. Taking 5 here, boss. Okay, so I'm definitely field ruining. Trying to figure out off of what configuration of lands. I think I'm just fetching for a basic. Fetch for an island. Field, get forest. Untap Uro. Doesn't sound horrible. Need to draw land this turn. If I draw a land this turn, I don't need to, I don't play the Uro, and I instead set up for activate Field of Ruin, play Ice-Fang. Problem with drawing that land is that Ice-Fang wants to... I mean, this Field of Ruin wants to find a white source so that I can cast this Verdict on a reasonable scale. I'm gonna play the Uro this turn, and then if I draw an untapped land, Breeding Pool can. I am willing to pay the 2 life to leave up this Veil of Summer. I am perfectly okay with that surgical extraction. Probably going to fire off a Veil this turn. Even if they don't do something that like targets me, that's pretty bad for me. Yeah, I'm just gonna fire it off in response. Hope to draw force. Oh. I think that they're supposed to minus there. This is where we really hope that they activate their Liliana in main 1. If they activate Lily in main 1, we can Snapcaster Mage, Path to Exile plus cast the Veil. They're gonna get a card out of the Lily this turn, but we have to, because the problem with just playing Kodal this turn is that it dies to a bolt, but playing Snapcaster Path covers a bolt with playing Snapcaster Path covers stub and bolt. I guess no, I can. No, I can do this. I can do this because they have no. Because they only have one card. They can't have both things that punish me this turn, so I can play the Ice-Fang. This line loses to TBR. A little suspicious. It's what's known as an interesting line of play. They knew that I had Ice-Fang Kodals in my hand from that surgical as well, so. My guess is that they just minus this Lily, get back the Angler, and recast it. What do I know? Well. I'm gonna just cantrip this Kodal. Get in a point at the Lily. Keeps it from molting for a turn. And if I draw a Cryptic, I can, like, get the game running back into my favor. This is another good catch-up mechanism to have, especially with the fetch line in play. Have to plus the first turn though because of lightning bolts. They potentially have Snapcaster Mages and lightning bolts in their deck, so I have to plus first. Whenever they have fetch lands, you just always bottom. It would be very unfortunate if their last card is Snapcaster, but gonna be a difficult one to cover either way, so that's real unfortunate. They're likely to just bolt us. They're thought scouring? Scour me, you coward. They're cowards. Confirmed. I'm gonna ambush Viper this. They have Bolt plus TBR. Yes, and die. One potential line of play is to attempt to go for the win off of this Jace by just plussing it over a course of a couple of turns. Plan's looking less real by the second, but probably take the Snapcaster Mage because it's a sufficient answer. So this win, so 3 turns puts that on top. I spend 3 turns plussing, so I plus to 7, cast Verdict. They plus theirs to 7. I plus to 9. They ultimate, make 2 zombies. I fetch and Verdict. Okay, so I have to. Yeah, I have to brainstorm. Would like to draw an arrow, but those aren't in the deck right now. Need to find a cryptic ASAP. I'm gonna put these back, holding on to the fetch just because I need to hold on to a way to shuffle, because I do need to look for a way to actually get this game over. Do I want to fetch? They have 2 bolts in their yard, and I think they delved 1. They did not. They have 2 bolts in the yard, and yeah, I'm gonna draw the path. I am still going to bounce while drawing the path, just because it's still nice to have both, and it's a better tempo play. It's just going to be difficult to race this Liliana ult without a ton of ways to kill my opponent left, but I'd like to find cryptic. Now's the turn. It's time. Play 2. Okay. Temporarily averted. Would have been nicer a turn ago, but... So, bounce Liliana, draw a card, and play Ice-Fang Kodal on their end step. If I do that, I'm going to be down to 2 ways to kill my opponent in my deck. 1 way. So I need to hold... I guess I can... Kodal and then Veil the turn that they Lily it, but like, gross. I am going to be bouncing this and drawing a card. That has to happen, because I can't beat a Lily ult right now. I guess I might be able to, but Yep. Yep. Now I am going to go for the... Okay, now we start to go for the Jace kill. I figured it out. Oh, they're milling. They're milling. Okay, we do kill with the Kodal. Do we still try and kill with Jace? What did they return? Grimag? Sure. Just gonna get pathed, so I don't really care. Draw my other Veil. Three and 1. Made the play points back. Planned for a bit of extra. I love this deck. I think playing this version I think I stand by liking the Stoneforge Mystics. So there's been a lot of cases where it feels like it's just impossible to finish the game and you need a real way to finish it. And having, even just like having a Sword of Feast and Famine in my deck would be great. Much less a Batterskull. Whew. I'm going to pick up the 4-1 going into this last match. Good old blue-white match in here. Just clean up on some blue-white players. So unlucky. As much as I want to keep this hand, doesn't really work with one land. Put this Temple Garden on the bottom and hope to get there. Hand's not great against burn. Probably would have kept my 7 if you had told me I was playing against burn. Ice-Fang Quaddle. So, I'd rather them not know about it, but given the circumstances... Yep, I'm being charmed. Oh, charming. I'm playing the land here is really awkward. Oh, they don't have it? The burn player didn't automatically have the thing I didn't want them to have. Didn't know that was possible. Am I just dead? Oh, just kill me. That'd be hilarious. Okay. Need to play around Charm. I mean, need to play around... Oh, I guess them having Boros Charm or them having any 2 burn spells, so... Can't play out my spells. Can't play out a Walker this turn. Man, do I want to draw 2 with this Archmage's Charm so fucking bad. So bad. I'm supposed to untap. I'd like to draw an Uro, please. And if not an Uro, if I may make a suggestion, how about a Force Negation? Okay. I draw 2 so bad. Because my next land is a Flooded Strand, I can't. Mana Leak is almost good. It's really close to being good. But our opponent just made their 5th land drop. That's makes my Mana Leak a little bit worse. Canyon. Cast a spell, please. They never do it. So as soon as I crack this fetch is when they're going to go for it. Decent draw. The awkward part is I need this fetch land to resolve to be able to charm plus leak. So maybe I'm supposed to respond to this islet activation by fetching for a basic. I guess, well, leak. I know I'm short of mana on that plan. Yeah. Feeling rather dead this game. Didn't draw an Uro. How foolish of me. I really wish I had these Yawg champions in my sideboard that I play in paper. If I cast this Uro, I just die to their 4 cards in hand, but if I don't, am I living? Fuck it. Hold please. Hold please. If I had a force negation, I think I win this game. Yeah, I'm dead. You're not supposed to leak the helix there. I'm supposed to wait. Yep. You got me. Let's get a bit lower. Really just hope to draw my Uros. Hand's gross, but I think I'd keep it. Hoping to draw a way to get a snow-covered forest early in the game, but or hoping that they kept a hand that leans on a ooh. This smells like a Eidolon hand, and Eidolon hands are the hands that this one beats. Because if they play an Eidolon here, like that's all they do, then I'm in a great position. Not against this either, to be honest. Probably getting Boros Charmed, but they just like F6 through my turn? I'm so confused. Red zone, baby. Red zone, only zone. I am likely to mana leak any spell here. Alright. Just gonna kind of hope that they don't have anything right now, but this is the plains, right? Yeah. Mostly hoping that they don't have a sear effect, blazer blood. Not a bad sign. I got to draw my card. And we got to block. That's fine. They don't get to attack with their Eidolon, and then just gonna fetch for a tapped land and verdict. Good draw. Now their Eidolon did 0 damage. Other than, like, their Eidolon just mostly just killed my Kodal. Just want to leak just about anything there. Punished if they untap and play another Eidolon, but and this turn we get to Uro and leak their crack if they have one. Yeah, they're waiting until the trigger's on the stack so that they can Uro so they can do it at the proper timing. Unless they're pathing, they might be pathing. Swift Spears, whatever. Do I just verdict it? Nah. Do I have enough mana to... Yes, I do. Cool. So I can play... I can escape my Uro and snap Mana Leak. So that's really nice. Uro wins another game very skillfully. Not really much to adjust in the board here. None of those cards do anything. Still think I don't want my Planeswalkers, especially not Jace. Jace is really bad. Unfortunate to be on the draw, but happens when you lose game ones. Yeah, we keep this hand mostly on the back of it having an Uro. Having a Gust is also nice. Gotta hope that they don't have a they don't have a Eternal Creature. Oh, don't do that. It's unfortunate. And Eidolon, yep. not drawing lands. Ugh. Yeesh. Looking like this ain't gonna be it. I'm gonna gust the Eidolon. It's not great. Oof, ouch, owie, my face. Would have really liked to have them to have like play crack fetch. Oof, ouch, owie, my face. Stop it. Going to 10 and then to 7 here. Blech. They're down to 2 cards. We draw a forest. That's not a forest. Yeah, they put the Eidolon on top. Big shocker, but it's gonna mana leak it. On the way back down, probably want to force anything else that they're doing just to keep my life total high. Right now their hand is Eidolon unknown. You have to run it out here. Just need to find lands. So this puts me going to 3. I'm going to be going to 2 if I fetch. So the lines here are I can play, so I can take it, go to 3, fetch to 2 for this Codal to put in front of the Swift Spear. Their last card in hand is an Eidolon. So Codal blocks, I force any spell that kills me. If they play the Eidolon, I have to have exactly land for Verdict. And it has to be, because this fetch has to get an island if I want to cast my Codal. This is difficult. The most difficult part about this is that I don't get, if they run out the Eidolon, then I don't get to play another spell that would trigger the Eidolon. But I get 2 looks at basic planes. That is the only out, would be basic planes. Is that good enough? And then, well, the other line is I leak this, so I fetch leak. Go to 5. They play Eidolon, hit me for 1. I go to 4. I play Uro. Yeah, I think leaking this is better. I still have to draw. I think what this ends up doing is it gives me an extra draw step, 1 extra draw step to make it so that I can play this Verdict. I'm going to have to use this Verdict to win. Oh, I was supposed to fetch for a Plains. That's what I was supposed to do. Yeah. Okay, I was supposed to fetch Plains. Really wanted him to draw a spell there. I'm just gonna go for it, hope that they don't have 2 things. Didn't get punished for not playing the planes, for not fetching for planes. So I need them to only have one spell this turn. Whoop! Then we get to Uro. Stop drawing fucking Time Ravelers. We still might die. Decently likely. But we have more outs. No, I don't want to put a land to play. The next step is to find a second green source for this Uro. Dead to a bolt. Pass priority! No! Okay. Don't have a Boros Charm covered. This is stressful. In their own instep? What are you doing? What's the upside of doing it here as opposed to literally any other time? I think their thought process was, okay, we're going to upkeep it. And then they didn't. But, as is life. Picked up the 3 and 2. Closing thoughts. Didn't like the Teferis. Missed the Stoneforge package a lot. Felt like in both of the matches that I lost, I could have stabilized if I just had a thing that's more relevant than like the Teferi is just too expensive in a lot of cases where I need to be double spelling, and especially in the current state of Modern where I need to be double spelling and catching up, where like having Teferi can sometimes let you double spell, but Teferi is only as effective as the cards you drew, and drawing a lot of lands. This list was also very land heavy, with 25 as opposed to the 23 that I run. You do have to play the extra lands if you're playing if you're gonna play the Teferi, but I think I'd recommend against it and go back to playing the Stoneforge package. But anyways, that will be all for today. It's my first time streaming with Mom's Basement Games, so have a good evening.